They don't necessarily lie to you in Hollywood, but sometimes it's the things they don't tell you that is the lie. If you're a real life radio DJ and you're like, Brent, you're the slickest speaker I've ever heard. You and your computer engineering degree and your patents and your gaming skills and your YouTube skills and your bullshit show. This is awful. I don't know if I should say this one. This is, oh my God. Okay, whatever. I'll say it anyways. I think China cheats at the Special Olympics. Lazy slob Canadian workers. I'm gonna keep an eye on our trash here. Ah, yes, perfectly organized, no issues whatsoever. Ho 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 ho! I had a great marketing idea. Clean coal is a thing, and I'm gonna market it with my company. And if I can't do that, I'm gonna blow up Amtrak. So that's why we have to build our Maglev lines. Well, it's not really gonna be Maglevs; it'll just be regular trains. And there's birth records of, descendants of this royal family, and they did a DNA cross-reference with known documented descendants, and turns out he's not fully related. There's a high percentage of people whose parents aren't who they think they are. The Snobville Apartments. See here? It's a series of apartments. They all can reach the church, so they can be smug in their belief that Jesus favors them. Maybe Jesus does. I don't really know. Who's to say? You would typically eat your dog in winter. This is how sick you are, because you probably got mad at me for this, but this is actually worse. Maybe if you follow good gamers at this, they would have pointed that out. Okay, I want to tell you a real life conspiracy right now. Maybe the show's utter crap, but whatever. At least I'm executing the crappy show correctly. I think our food's probably almost run out. It's not necessarily in any way beneficial for you to understand the reality that you know, but the corporations that control the media, all the organizations that have enough capital power, to pay salaries, anyone that can pay salaries is part of the brainwashing. A bit of a radio station tutorial. Again, episode's brainwashed. The topic is brainwashing people. Consider the implications of this. The theory is that if you brainwash people enough, they'll live in an environment that's subpar. Does water go bad if it's stored in there? So it's a bit of an experiment. As you know, I do human experiments in this game to see what would happen. What is the opposite of the Enlightenment? The Darkening. That's what we're in right now. What is... Uh-oh. Oh my God. Okay, well, there's the Darkening right there. Shareholders, too bad for you. This is your taxes. FEMA's taking your money. I am trying to brainwash you. For those who watch the full show, that's your reward, your insider information. Welcome to another episode of Dump City, a show made for communists by communists. Wait a second, who wrote that? This episode, in case you haven't figured it out, is going to have something to do with Hollywood. So I'm wearing this trashy Hollywood shirt and these trashy Hollywood glasses just so I could pretend I'm from Hollywood. But I'll be honest, I can't see anything with this. I can't play it like this. I'm gonna take them off. This is ridiculous. It's a video game. I'm playing a video game. This isn't WWE, okay? I'm teaching you how economics work, how money works, not how to be a pro wrestler, for God's sake. This episode's gonna be called Brainwashed. It's just such a good title. I have to use it. In this episode, and I'm not gonna screw up the intro like the other ones where I don't say what's in the episode till like 20 minutes in. I'm just gonna tell you what's in it. So if you don't want to watch it, you can know right away. Now, there's a real conspiracy in this one. Like, it's a story of something that's real and you can verify as a true conspiracy yourself just by doing your own rudimentary searches. I discovered a new game mechanic in this game, something totally new. Like literally between episodes. I didn't know this, didn't know how it worked, and I'll explain it in this show. I have an awful theory about dogs. I want to talk about greenwashing. And of course, at the end of the episode, I'm announcing a new radio channel. Yeah, let's get started. Let's walk around our world here. I've done the proper intro. We're following this truck. There we go. So now we're playing our game again. We're not too far into the future since the last recording. We're building highway around the city here. And I think I mentioned it last episode. I don't know if I had launched it yet, but there's this building here. This radio station. Okay, and one of the challenges of this episode is to see if we can build this. This is the actual plot of the episode. Is if we can build this by the end. And if we can't, well, I'm just going to edit it and brainwash you. But maybe I don't have to edit it. I want to save some editing time, so let's see if we can do this. And just to give you an idea, this apartment this size here, I was able to barely finish that in one episode. The episode that I forgot to put the audio on, and there was no audio. I had to throw it out. But so that, almost 1,700 work days. This thing here, it needs 6,000. So the odds of finishing it are very low. But we'll see, right? Again, I'm reserving the right to do some video edits now that I'm reasonably proficient at video editing. So if we don't get it done on time, I'll pretend I did, and then you'll be brainwashed, right? First topic here. Remember our money boards truck from last episode? This truck we set up that would just make us some money making deliveries? Well, I've created Board Depot. In America, you get Home Depot. In Soviet Republic, you get Board Depot. You know what? This automates the process. So basically, I put money truck in Board Depot, and then it added another flatbed, and then there was another flatbed that wasn't doing much. I just threw in there. And it's also now responsible for bringing steel in from Canada and shipping out our surplus prefab panels. As a result, we used to have, if you watch the full series, we used to have China Discount Goods Distribution Office here. It's been removed. It's one of its primary functions was to bring prefab and steel in, but we're getting it from Canada now. And likewise, some of the other goods that used to be distributed from that distribution hub have been moved to Houston. So our covered hull trucks now bring in some of the essential goods. Like their primary objective is to service a livestock economy here. But as a low priority, they bring in various goods here to the Los Angeles, San Diego, LA surplus. So when they have nothing else to do, they do that. I almost never see them in the parking lot here. They're constantly busy. Got to keep an eye on our trains. We do have another issue here I have to make a note of soon. This track was built so that I couldn't do a crossover here, meaning I couldn't double up the tracks further and or have multiple trains in queue right here. I want to see if I can get it doubled up here by taking out a bit of track. And if I can't do that, I'm going to blow up Amtrak. So Chinese Maglev will start building this line and we'll connect it to our main line. In this series, as mentioned, we're going to try to purchase mixed waste and process it. Right now we have trucks delivering it, but eventually we're going to need ES waste here. See, mixed waste doesn't hold much, so that's why we have to build our maglev lines. Well, it's not really going to be maglevs, it'll just be regular trains. Let's talk about a new game discovery. I want to get into my other more controversial topics later. If you disagree with me on stuff and you rage quit because of something you disagree with on, then you'll at least have watched further into the show first, right? So I had set this dump here to contain biological waste. Look at that, there's fertilizer in there. So I realized after time, eventually, it becomes fertilizer. So this was set to biological waste. It was full, but it started disappearing. So I think it's converting to fertilizer. And eventually, I think I'll be able to make this fertilizer. I didn't know that. I literally had no idea how fertilizer was made in this game until 2 days ago. It's a new game discovery. So if you're considering making your farms more efficient, and maybe if you follow good gamers at this, they would have pointed that out. These livestock farms and these livestock halls, look at all that biological waste. I can't even keep up with it. They produce a bunch of biological waste. The correct way to do it is to have these dumps here that store the biological waste, and then have a delivery service that brings it directly to your small farm. And then your crops yield way more. And you're getting rid of your waste. Like, I can't even get rid of it. Right now I'm bringing it to the border because I have nowhere else to put it. Other games have similar principles, like Tropico has something like that. At the start of the game, that truck you watched was picking up this crane tower. Okay? And it was dropping it off to the Hollywood construction office. And the reason I bought it just for the episode, because I want to really accelerate the speed of construction to see if we can get, basically 7,000 work days done in 2 hours of gameplay, which is pretty hard to do. So I figured if I bought another one of these, it would improve the odds. It was also on sale. It was like 25% off. It's not repaired yet, but 49% wear and tear. It should be kind of good to go. After we build this, if we don't have any really big buildings to use them, it'll get its repair at that point. So that's sort of the Hollywood behind all this. So you're probably wondering why the radio station isn't in Hollywood. And that's because, look how big it is. We can't fit it there. Look at the size of this thing. Look how, it doesn't fit in any of these blocks here. It's massive. When you buy new boxcars, you have to kind of have another train. Like, there's a process, real-time process of re-instrumenting your train. So you kind of make things worse when you do that. So the easier way is to double this up, and then I'll buy a second train, and it will take over for this train. And then I have more than enough trains so that if I ever have to take one and add more boxcars. But right now we can't even have any downtime. Oh my god. You know what? What I'm gonna do here? Nothing. There's not enough going here. I'm gonna hack it here for a second. I'm gonna make this a one-way, and then the food can't get out. That did hardly anything. People are gonna starve. There should be enough food. Did it pick up any food? Yeah, it took it away. Okay, we got to take less away. We're hardly getting much surplus here. Our population's growing, so we got to take that down another notch. Let's just change this a little bit. We'll set it to 0. Any amount's good. I'll take 0. We got to get them some food. Okay, I want to tell you a real-life conspiracy right now. I don't know if this is as interesting of the theory about dogs I have, but this is a real conspiracy. And because it's open-ended, you're probably like, oh, some of these are dumb. Brento, you have dumb, real conspiracies. And you'll find this fascinating, this one. And it has to do with the topic of media and brainwashing. As you know, I'm a relatively new YouTuber. I've only been doing this a few years now, right? And one of the things I've discovered as I get better, more and more familiar with the process of marketing a show, is you need good thumbnails. There's some websites out there that give you free stock images, but the best stock images aren't free. You got to pay for them, and that's a real conspiracy. That's a paywall to promote yourself. Does that mean that there's financial gatekeeping for entertainers? That would make sense. As we know, the rich people kind of control things. They control the rules of propaganda. They control the rules of brainwashing. And they have the best thumbnails. A lot of the images you probably commonly click on when you look at thumbnails in any kind of video streaming platform, none of the free ones are any good. The ones I use are awful right now. They're just awful. And maybe it's only $20, maybe it's $20 a month or something like that. But if you make an episode and that episode makes you $30 and you pay $20 for an image that you then have to put time in to make it, it seems like it's not a good deal. It seems like there's a paywall with thumbnails, and that's a real conspiracy. And the cool thing about that is you can verify this yourself. You can try to get President Xi Jinping or a President Trump image from a free website. Do it right now. Try to find free without having to pay money. Maybe at around 10,000 views, I might consider investing in that. But there is a real paywall to promote your videos. That's a real life conspiracy. How is the alcohol doing? We got surplus alcohol. You know what it could be? We got too many people making alcohol and not enough people making food. Let's change the numbers a little bit. That should help. We got food in here? Oh, okay, they're full on food. And in the next episode, guess what we're going to start building? Guess. I'll give you a hint. It's these buildings right here. They're going to make clothing. And then this will be a super efficient money train. We still want to sell stuff. So this is passive two-way. Crops go in, food goes out. And now a bit of food's going here. So we'll sell a bit. We got enough. Hopefully we got enough in our big mall here. I got a decent amount of food. Okay, now we can play the game a bit. I've done a few topics. I'm on the schedule. Maybe the show's utter crap, but whatever. At least I'm executing the crappy show correctly. That's the main thing. Even if you're, if you come up with a terrible script and no one likes anything about your show, or you're just a terrible person in general, as long as you execute your script correctly, everyone wins, right? Everyone wins. There's no other issues. Okay, let's check this out. How are we doing? Wow, this is moving along. Our twin tower cranes are building this thing super fast. I love Board Depot. It's so, like, this makes us money, Board Depot. It's not just money train. And then later we're going to have Coal Express, which probably won't make us money, but it might not cost us anything. Like these trucks here, we have more dumpers than we need. And a lot of stuff we're going to do in the future doesn't need as much dumpers, so I thought I'd just put them here. And they'll resupply the coal, because our train is, like, it's going to be a while till we have our doubled up train. So there'll be a bit of a stopgap. Later we could use this, like, it's a big distribution office right on the edge of town, right along the highway here. So it could do a lot of things. Initially it'll supply coal to our coal storage if it's short, and then deliver the coal to, because right now we have a truck that's like permanently parked here and it just waits until it empties. I have more of these than I need, so eventually it'll get moved into Coal Express. But Coal Express also, in addition to adding coal, we have aluminum scrap and metal scrap piling up here. See, we're half full. We might not have the technology to start recycling it yet, so we'll just sell it for money. And this is pretty decent money, so it'll make money selling that too. So that's what Coal Express will do. Let's check out our, oh my god, we got a problem here. Oh my god. Why isn't it empty? Oh, are we full? Okay, wait, hold on. I know what to do. See, I've played enough here. This is why I'm semi-pro at this game. See, watch this. Bam and bam. That fixed it. That fixed it. See, look. See, I'm a semi-pro player. I had it at 95% full, but there's a bit more space in there. Once this starts burning through, once winter starts, then we'll start these back up again. 60 kilometers an hour. This guy is not good for business. It's like an old YouTuber. You don't want an old YouTuber. They're just lame. And they do dad jokes. I hate dad jokes. Dad jokes make me sick. Whenever I hear a dad joke, I'm like, you guys make me sick. I have friends who are dads. They've never noticed that I don't laugh at their dad jokes. And they keep doing them. They don't take a hint that they're not funny. They just don't take the hint. Okay, here's a complete tangent here. This isn't even on my list, but it's a topic. So I have like a garbage bin in my back lane, and it's like the machine's supposed to pick it up and dump it into the garbage truck, but they broke it. And I've been waiting for almost a month for a replacement, and they say it can take up to a month. And I swear to God, the city just waits till the last possible day, and they give you no service until the last moment. And whoever the contractor is that does that, shame on them. It takes you a month to bring a new piece of plastic to a location. What kind of a business are you? It's not like you're transporting this thing overseas or anything. It's probably literally just parked in a yard 3 blocks away, and it takes them a month to bring it. It's just ridiculous. This is, of course, our repair station. If you just jumped in the series and you don't know what this is, this building repairs your vehicles. Well, this is a parking lot. And this is the vehicle repair station. Someone the other day commented on a video about how useful this was. And I remember the first playthrough, I didn't know how this worked. And that's partly why I made it. You want to make sure you have at least one parking lot, maybe more. You want to have an end station. You want to have a train depot. And you want to have a metro end station. All in range of your vehicle repair station. Like that. You can't see what it covers till I go over here. See that? The cursor has to go over the box. Strange interface. Then you know it's covered. Any vehicles in there that you flag for repair will just automatically get repaired. But this little parking lot does a lot of work here. Technically, you can send your vehicles out to do remote repairs, but you only have 1 or 2 at a time. So the reason I send it here is if the wear and tear is bad, it's a much higher probability of breaking down. So you don't want it to be used. You actually want to take it off the route. Look at this radio station. I can't believe this, how fast this is going. Maybe it's we got 3 towers on this baby. 3 towers. Look how many work days. We're cranking through 100 work days like it was 1 work day with these babies on site here. Okay, so one of the towers got taken away. But yeah, definitely consider investing in one of these. If you're unsure whether you should get a tower, just look how fast this building got built. Ridiculous. We're going to build a lot of tall buildings quick with those things. Your vehicles age faster. They deteriorate faster as they age. So eventually you want to be sure to start scrapping your vehicles at a certain point. And I don't buy many vehicles in this game. I'm really, really cheap. I'm not a crazy spendthrift liberal here. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, we're gonna have to pause here. We have too much trash getting delivered, and soon we're not going to be able to operate waste removal. So this is actually becoming an issue. I have to stop these. I have to. Unless I start burning things. Actually, you know what? Maybe I could open up the heat plant. It's 9 degrees Celsius. I think we're going to open it up. Let's go with 3 workers. I'll get it primed. I want to get this valve at least halfway up. Yeah, that just solves the problem right there. Darn it, I hit the wrong button. I didn't grab the money fast enough. Oh, yes. Non-announced topics of the show. Oh, there's a few here. We got to set an auto ash route because we're going to be generating ash. Let's set it to this one here. Stockpiling of trash is going to slow down a bit because we do have to auto ash, and that goes to ash 2. Where is ash 2, you say? Ooh, we can almost use the new ash. We're building a new ash building here. I don't know how this makes sense in the game. The smaller dumps, the free ones take more physical space to build, but they hold like 30% less. So how can something bigger hold 30% less? It doesn't really add up. We got to make sure these guys empty out fully. Let's edit that route right now. Auto ash will become, we'll use this one. And then we'll blow this up because we don't need this ash too. Now we can build a hotel or something right by the hazardous waste facility. Oh yeah, we're getting up there. Increasing the pressure. People are showing up at work. You know what? We could probably stand to send 1 heat worker. Let's get 1 heat worker going because that's what they do. That's what the heat workers do. Where do they get the workers from? They get them from Mexico, which is... Let's check our borders. We also want to check, too, if we have immigrants. Yeah, so we got extra Mexican workers here. Of course they're going to work in the coal plants. I feel bad for immigrants. It's marketing, right? You get brainwashed into something. That's what it's all about. It's the big lie about, you know, you go up to America or Canada or Europe. You get there, they tell you it's better, but it's probably worse than where you're from. There's some things better. Like I'll tell you, in non-winter conditions, they're generally cleaner cities, generally lower crime cities, but winter, arguably avoiding one bad problem to get an even worse problem just because you're not used to something, how bad something can be. So a lot of immigrants, they're on YouTube too, immigrants who move to like a cold climate and then they say this isn't for me. because they didn't realize how bad it was, how unpleasant and unavoidable winter is. If you're an immigrant, you're not going to be given the best jobs. That's the whole point. That's why you were recruited. That's why the media brainwash you. And again, citizens don't do this. I'm against this. Any normal citizen hates the corporations, and they're the ones who put together the brainwashing to come work in their coal plants. So they make money off you. And they'll tell you one thing, but when you get here, some of it will be outright lies. You just won't get what they say, and there'll be no recourse. They know you can't afford a lawyer, and that's what they do. They do that on purpose. A lot of companies screw over people because they know that you won't do anything about it legally. They don't care about your rights, essentially. It's good to be aware of how brainwashing works, how propaganda works, how Hollywood works. They don't necessarily lie to you in Hollywood, but sometimes it's the things they don't tell you that is the lie. The history of something, omission of information. A lot of cities out there have a lost history, and sometimes that lost history is missing at all levels, at the school level, at the textbook level, the media level for sure, and you get brainwashed into a reality that isn't truthful. It's not necessarily in any way beneficial for you to understand the reality that you know, but the corporations that control the media, all the organizations that have enough capital power, to pay salaries, anyone that can pay salaries is part of the brainwashing. And they'll tell you something that is advantageous to them, and therefore the rich always remain rich, and it's gotten worse and worse. Like Reagan was the first example of outright actor was the president. Before that, you had to know some things, and now we've gotten plenty of celebrities do that because brainwashing. They're proficient at brainwashing. A lot of world leaders are expert brainwashers, so let's keep that in mind. When considering the truthfulness of what's presented before you. Yeah, that wasn't really scripted, but well, part of that was scripted. I won't say what part. This is gonna be done way faster than I thought. Like you saw, I was gonna edit this, and I can't believe how fast this is going. It's ridiculous. I'm gonna keep an eye on our trash here. Ah, yes, perfectly organized, no issues whatsoever. Okay, we gotta catch some of these. They gotta stop doing what they're doing. What's this guy doing? This guy's... You know what this guy's gonna do instead? Gotta grab this guy, and now he's not gonna go and get more stuff. Because we do have to empty this out, both. So that's like a win-win, right? Now that this guy's on auto ash. Yes, yes. What's he doing, though? Where's he going? Go to there, you stupid truck. Oh, that's weird. It's like he couldn't acknowledge his new route. So that will help, and that will empty this out faster, and then it will bring the ashes out faster, and it will fill. This ashes are going to fill up very fast. I think some of you watch this to watch how often I go over the limit here. So auto ash, the route itself, brings out these big bins to the incinerator, which then reduces the waste quality to ash level. So here it's got a some burnable components. It takes all the valuables out of it in this stage, and then it burns the burnable stuff in this stage, and then it's just ash and it blows away. Just a bit of a reminder of that process, in case you're wondering what's going on here. All the garbage from the city comes in here too. So it is, like, I am kind of screwing up my city by kind of ignoring, kind of like real life city I'm dealing with, where they take 20 business days to send me a new garbage tub. Which it's been like 26 actual days I've been waiting for it, almost, and because the weekends don't count. So when they said 20 originally, I thought it would be like 3 weeks, but no, they mean 20 business days. So they're gonna bring it on the last possible day, essentially. But we do have workers burning through this stuff, and we do have ash disposers. You never want the ash to build up. These big bins get over full too. Okay, I'm gonna tell you an interesting little thing I learned between episodes. I've mentioned this in an earlier episode. One of the interesting things I discovered that English kings between the year 1154 and 1485 a notable king, King Richard III, that existed in that era. And there's birth records of, descendants of this royal family. These kings were considered part of the House of Plantagenet. I don't know, I probably pronounced that wrong. They found the remains of King Richard III, and they did a DNA cross-reference with known documented descendants, and turns out he's not fully related. Like, there's affairs and whatnot going on that differ from actual birth records. And it just goes to tell you, in terms of real conspiracies, do you trust human records? Just basic, there's a high percentage of people whose parents aren't who they think they are. Does that mean that essentially anyone can pretend to be a king? They just show up and just brainwash everyone around them? Or pretend to be nobility or be involved with the royal family just by showing up one day and kind of becoming it? Is that something that can happen? Apparently, yeah, there must have been some affairs going on. And I don't know how that affects royalty in the world today, and I don't know how that affects just power in the world today, but it actually could. There's probably a lot of illegitimate power out there where enough con artists, it's something about money and power brings the con artists to the top. There's something about that story. That's actually was news from quite a while ago, but again, I thought it was an interesting topic for the show, and I never really went into the details of that. Oh my god, our radio station's done. Wow, that was fast. Okay, I'm going to have to... Who gives a crap about culture? I'm going to actually do a bit of an explainer here, because this is an entirely new concept in the game. This is a new screen that you haven't seen. And actually, I want to change something here. So the heat workers, we're in less of a rush here. I can be a little less stressed playing now. I just want to make sure our heat workers don't go directly to the law. And they do, of course they do. No, they got to go to the bus station and not the heating plant anymore. This is another reason why I built the radio station here, is because if they have no work to do in the coal heating, they alternatively... Let's just do a bit of a radio station tutorial. Again, episode's Brainwashed. The topic is brainwashing people. And therefore... Okay, so this will be, I guess, a bit of a tutorial. But again, this game models real life, so consider the implications of this. Actually, before I go into the game mechanics, I'm going to do a bit of background theory, because I think it's more entertaining this way, rather than go to a technical explanation. The theory is that if you brainwash people enough, they'll live in an environment that's subpar and not complain about it as much, because the brainwashing convinces you that certain things you must accept in life, like a rich guy having 7 cars is justifiable because, they're the ones who pay the radio DJs. And having your garbage bin not available for a month is okay as well. But because you have a radio telling you this, you don't get as angry about it. And history has shown, and various studies in the world have shown, that places without brainwashing in effect will become angrier. Like they'll just say, what's going on here? There's no explanation from it. Someone's stealing from me. Someone's taking all the profits from my labor and keeping it for themselves and not sharing. And the radio station's there, and it actually works. That's the thing, that people will actually fall for this, that they'll accept the lesser outcome in life due to propaganda, right? So in this game, there's basically 3 sources of loyalty, and loyalty is a big thing. Let's just see if we can find a worker here, just a random worker, and see if we can hover over them. Okay, this person here is 46 years old. They're going to live to 78, apparently. Somehow they know that. And they're at 67% productive. And that's a big part. Like, the happiness is part of it. Getting their basic needs taken care of. But there's also a built-in loyalty mechanic which factors into that productivity. So productivity is a byproduct of basic needs taken care of plus loyalty. And there's really only 3 sources of loyalty in the game. One are the monuments. So when you start out, you want to make these eternal flame obelisks. This is a monument to suburbanites, I guess, but the one is called Eternal Flame Obelisk in the game itself. I sometimes rename my buildings. And if you get the technology later, the Red Star Monument's much better because it's more loyalty in a much wider range. And from what I understand, that can get you up to like a third of your loyalty, these monuments. You could probably put a few others in a few areas here and there to maximize your monument loyalty. And again, it increases productivity. So this is why the radio station is pretty important, because it's a multiplier on how much work all your people do. So another third of that is the radio station. By default, this Soviet propaganda, I believe, is not available. So when you first build it, you have to, in order to do Soviet propaganda, you have to research in the research tree influence of radio broadcast. To get the radio, first you got to get the radio signal broadcasting through the technical university, then through the communist university. You got to research this technology. So technical lets you build the building, but communist lets you unlock this one. So if you've been following the series, you understand how culture, education, alcohol, sports, and religion work. Loyalty is not really explained. Because all our other basic needs were kind of taken care of, this lets us do maximum loyalty, because everything else should be 100% anyways. And just a side note, you'll notice the religious one's backwards. So rather than it adding more religious happiness like the church does, it dissuades the importance of the church itself. So it's like an anti-church. But the problem is, if you don't build around a church and you go like this, you don't have enough resources for loyalty, and you got to build another station. So because we were smart and built around the church early in the series, we can go with pure brainwashing, pure Soviet propaganda. We got this sports hall, we got this cinema, we got the best mall, we got, like, these are the three best of each type building. We gave them the three best. And they got the big church, right? Like the biggest church you can get. We're not short on any educators. Everything's working hunky-dory, as they say. So the only thing left is to do Soviet propaganda to increase the loyalty, which is 1/3 monuments, 1/3 radio. And the other third is later on, once we get the ability to do it, is of course the television station. And if you play the game, you can probably see it in your build menu. But then we need, a few more technologies for that to all work. Once we're regularly manning this thing at max capacity, like our population's big enough, we'll start researching the television. But you don't typically want to have them both done at once, because if you don't build the apartment buildings, just like our idiot politicians currently do, rather than build enough housing for people, they just look at the profit they can make in the short term and they collapse everything. That's an economic imperial overstretch, and not considering the logistics of filling the building. You're going to lose at the game. I'm just telling you right now, you will lose at the game, and your society in real life will lose if you do that. That's a bit of a tutorial on the radio station there. Okay, what's this? We got a fire in an unimportant place. It'll be dealt with. If it's an unimportant building, I don't even care if it burns down. How's our garbage situation doing here? Has it resolved itself magically? It's a little better than before. I think I need a week of non-recording just to get at least 4 or 5 episodes edited so that they're more digestible and less tripe like this. So I mentioned another project I was going to start here. The Snobville Apartments. See here? Snobville Apartments. It's a series of apartments. The cool thing about these apartments, there's 2 interesting things about Snobville Apartments. They all can reach the church, so they can be smug in their belief that Jesus favors them. Maybe Jesus does. I don't really know. Who's to say? But they're still snobs. With houses in this game, you can set the education level. Here's a bit of a tip. So let's say you have a house. I set it so people who are uneducated aren't allowed to live in this house. And everyone around the university has this status. I set it that way. You have to at least have basic education in every house around the university. The reason is, there's multiple reasons for that. First off, this is a university, so you can't go to university unless you have basic education. So it kind of ensures the people in this area have basic education. So Snobville being so close is going to have the same criteria for all these apartments. They're right beside the university. We don't want uneducated people there. But like, you're going to live near a university, you should at least be educated enough that you could go to university, right? As an option. So that's the first reason. But the other reason is, where's our nearest school? Let's look at how close it is. They can't even get basic education out here. Look over here. It's like most of the zone has no regular schools. So if there are kids in the houses, they wouldn't be able to get to school either. It would be stupid to have kids in houses over here. So if you're killing two birds with one stone, you're solving a lower education and a higher education problem simultaneously. Oh, one other thing I wanted to show you here. Maybe you saw this earlier, is this water tower, and you're like, wow, that's a sick-ass water tower. So what I've done here is I started laying out the framework for something that might get worked on between episodes. And that's our new water treatment facility, a big one. So I set up some mountain wells here. So this will sometimes, at some point, have its day, but this plumbing system, eventually, I can add the new clean water directly into it. And I imagine that makes it cheaper to clean. But also some of it should go into this big water tower. So this will be a clean water tower. See if I can start banking up clean water. So we have water storage here that's like less clean in the hills as our buffer. And it's not full. That's kind of interesting. But also, can we have a clean water storage too? Does water go bad if it's stored in there? So it's a bit of an experiment. As you know, I do human experiments in this game to see what would happen. And I think it adds pressure to the zone here so that the lines that go through here, it's more pressurized, I imagine, than it would be if it was going through pumps. I think pumps have like a 50 meter cube limit. So I think going with a water line, like a big water tower in your city, if you're doing a serious city, you should definitely consider putting one of these in the city. Oh, look at that. We're starting the propaganda. We're starting the propaganda. People are going to be more loyal, more productive. Is there an old tower still there? Wow, the tower's still there. It still hasn't picked it up. That's crazy. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, so what is the opposite of the Enlightenment? The Darkening. That's what we're in right now. There was a time when people knew what the Enlightenment was, but what is... Uh-oh, uh-oh. Oh my god. Okay, well, there's the Darkening right there. There was a time when people knew what the Enlightenment was. I can't put a fire out over here. Our train's going to be shut down. Major problem. Maybe I'll just leave it paused for a bit. I got to think about this. We lost electricity. Why do they all hit here? It's the one area I don't have very good coverage. It's like it automatically knows. But yeah, we live in an era where we don't teach people what the Enlightenment is, and that's the Darkening. I'm going to have to set up a demolition office here. You know what? We'll just use this one here. I wanted to rename this. This was part of the episode. We're going to call this FEMA. Wow, I guess a disaster showed up at the right time. It's not all blabbing and brainwashing. Sometimes real emergencies show up, and you need FEMA to the rescue. We're going to cut 2/3 of jobs while we deal with this, just temporarily. What's that? 2/3 of that is 28 or something. So roughly 28. So we're going to very slowly process what we have. This is how we're going to deal with it. Okay, and we're going to say, shareholders, too bad for you. This is your taxes. FEMA's taking your money because you're secondary to survival, right? This actually is going to work out kind of nice because how are we doing for garbage supplies? We still have too much getting delivered. And see this truck here? We could put it in FEMA. It doesn't have to be delivering resources. And do we have another one doing a similar activity? Yes, it is, and it has mixed waste, but that's okay because we're going to haul mixed waste. So we're going to send these 2 trucks to FEMA. And then we're going to go here, and we're going to assign this here to FEMA. And it's going to be high priority. I think it's the only thing we got to worry about. So FEMA's going to take care of that. And we're going to slow down production and not sell any of our surplus while we take care of our people during disaster. That's good enough that I'll roll the dice and see how well that works. Normally I'd pause and do that in between. I got to do more show. I got to do more show. Oh, you want to hear my awful theory of dogs? This is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. Just a stupid... Sometimes I have just stupid thoughts. Have you ever wondered why dogs are bigger the further north you go? Same with humans. Humans are also bigger the further north you go. Like Vikings, and average human size increases as you get to colder and colder climates. And I think one of the reasons is that a way of survival of our ancestors in cold climates was simply we were barbarians. And if we were too stupid to figure out how to ration and store our food for the winter, the alternative survival strategy was to beat up other people and steal their food. And that's why bigger, stronger humans existed. Same with dogs. But I have a theory why bigger dogs are more common in more northern climates, especially as pets, because I believe dogs are an alternate source of food. Okay, so now I'm Michael Vick, now I'm horrible, I'm just being realistic here. I think there's some like basic levels of survival that if you don't have anything else to eat, total societal collapse, we allow the rich to keep building the more yachts and not feeding the rest of us. Eventually we got to eat our dogs. We're going to have no choice. If we keep giving tax breaks to the rich, we're going to have zero choice. And the bigger dogs, because it's longer between growing seasons, so you would typically eat your dog in winter or late winter, when there's no other source of food. I believe there's a website. There used to be one called Pets for Food, where they give you recipes and a dog, like you buy both. There's also a converse theory to this, and this is how sick some of you are. This is how sick you are, because you probably got mad at me for this, but this is actually worse. But some of you are going to think this is reconciling my statement of eating dogs, is that big people are also food for the dog, and that's why they hang around us. And maybe that's why humans and dogs are sort of a bit of a team, because they kind of understand that. That if one or the other goes, we eat, but they only live like 15 years, dogs, so we more commonly would have eaten dogs than they would have eaten us. But every now and then, the dog wins that situation. They'll sob for you a bit, they might feel bad for you, but then they'll get hungry, and then they'll be, and it's just nature is way more brutal than anything else on television. Oh, all this biological waste is piling up, nowhere for it to go. Oh, here's another idea. If you're a real life radio DJ and you're like, Brent, you're the slickest speaker I've ever heard. You and your computer engineering degree and your patents and your gaming skills and your YouTube skills and your bullshit show. Do you have any ideas for me? I want to make some money. I got a pitch for you. I can't do this. You have to be in radio to do this. And because you're probably connected to rich people, you can probably do this. I can't do this. But it's a reality TV show called Brainwashed. And it's like a behind-the-scenes YouTube show. Like, have you ever watched Spitting Chicklets? He's done this at least once, where he's sort of behind-the-scenes saying, I'm going to say a certain word. He said, give me like 3 words, writes them down. And then he goes on the news, and he incorporates them in his dialogue. He just says them. Like, I could say Snobville Apartments, right? Like, I could say, well, the other day in the news, this guy didn't want to do this or that. He was acting like he was living in Snobville Apartments, right? They worked it into the story. It's based on this idea. It doesn't have to be just words. It goes beyond that. Just stories that are inside gags and it's called Brainwashed, where you give the real news, and it's just gags, behind the scenes gags of radio. And you can listen to the actual live thing and think nothing of it. Go, oh yeah, that's normal radio, normal news, okay. It's normal stuff. But when you see Brainwashed later, you go, oh my God, it had a different meaning. I didn't know what was going on. So I think that could be a series. I think you're probably eagerly waiting for this one to end. Okay, we got this. You're going to hold on. We're going to pause quick. This is high priority. And all the stations go here, and all the other projects are downgraded in priority. This is now medium priority. Anything, this is also medium priority comparatively speaking. It's still medium priority. So they got to get to that right away. Rebuild that. Oh my god. Our ash is full too. Okay, just in time. We got our new ash. So we'll call this the new ash 2. Let's call it ash 2. And it stores mixed waste. Oh, I'm so glad I built this. This was done between episodes in quiet contemplation. And we're going to fix this route to go to ash 2 instead. Because ash 1's completely full. It's a new route. Like that. I don't see any frames being dropped. I don't see my audio being lost. That's always a good sign when you're getting brainwashed. It's Hollywood brainwashing. If you've been watching the show, I'm just going to say, there is something about it that's different than the last episode. You might have noticed it. You might not have. The first person to comment, what's changed in the world that I've actively lied about? I've been lying about it all episode. If you've been following the series, you should easily spot the inconsistency in the world. It's not that hard to find this one. The first to comment, and I'll do it later, it's a competition later in the episode, so other people wonder why you're commenting. It's because of the topic of the episode, Brainwashed. Okay? I am trying to brainwash you. For those who watch the full show, that's your reward, your insider information. Gotta get you watching more shows. Okay, let's add another auto ash truck here. The topic of greenwashing. I'm just gonna say people who involved in it are the stupidest humans. This is what's so stupid about greenwashing. Because climate change is obviously real, and it's just common sense. You should understand that you make a mess. You ride an automobile, you burn energy, you live in a house, you consume electricity. You have a footprint on this earth, even if you do very little, even if you're the cleanest person in the world. It's common sense to all that it is a problem and we should do something about it. And there are companies out there who have created products that don't actually make any notable difference, but they try to greenwash it through their marketing. And this is one of the most despicable things you could do. It just shows your incredible stupidity, because you've ignored the problem, B, you didn't solve the problem, 3, you wasted resources promoting something that doesn't do anything, and you're in charge of money. Now, here's my opinion. Anyone involved in greenwashing in such a way, first off, you should be fired. Any bank anyone who's lent to you, anyone who's aware of your greenwashing should disassociate with you. You should be homeless. If it was up to me, you'd have no income. That you should be blackballed from working anywhere if you're into greenwashing. Places like China would probably put you in prison. You're just too stupid to be in marketing if you're greenwashing things. This can be scientifically verified, right? There's ways of testing without even consulting scientists on the issue of climate change. I think anyone watching this show is almost certainly, not a climate denier. There are still a few people who cannot see the world around them. They're so brainwashed. That's why it's called greenwashing, because it's brainwashing that something is green. And it is a legitimate problem, but what they do is they come up with a false solution. They just want to make money off you. People in positions that can still do that today. In the future, it'll probably be illegal, as my guess. There'll be you can't claim to be a green product that's solving the problem if you don't have any data. If it's below a certain threshold of actual effectiveness, you can't claim you've solved a problem that you haven't solved, because it is essentially false advertising. And that is an argument why you should be put in jail. You could literally end the human race. That's how dangerous you are, and that's how big of a concern it is. So anyone who's, I had a great marketing idea. clean coal is a thing, and I'm going to market it with my company. Like, there's some people who actually think that way, and if you're around those people, give them maximum disrespect. Are we rebuilding our electric here? I think our food's probably almost run out. It's disappearing. They're eating it, but this is awful. I don't know if I should say this one. This is... Oh my god. Okay, whatever. I'll say it anyways. I think China cheats at the Special Olympics. I watch the Special Olympics. They're really smart people in China. And what qualifies you as special, by their definition, is just average in most Western nations. And I watched them when they were coming out, and they just like normal people, normal Olympians. A couple of, bib wearers. Otherwise, they looked kind of normal. And I think they cheat because I think the average IQ in China is that much better than America, that their special people aren't considered, like, they're special to them, but at international standards, they're 20 years ahead in the future. Like, look at go to Shanghai and watch a YouTube video. So I don't know. I think China might have to go to international standards in the Special Olympics. Otherwise, they're kind of cheating. I think we're going to wrap this up. The brainwashing's been sufficient. We'll end it once this is built here. This will be done in a few minutes. Just keep an eye on things here. We're going to stop bringing liquid fertilizer. And we're going to have real fertilizer. Real crap for the next episode. That'll be phenomenal. What's this guy doing? How come they're not getting workers from the border? There's 107... Okay, let's go to Mexico and get some workers. Lazy Canadian workers. Need hard-working Mexicans. Not lazy slob Canadian workers. Similar to American. It's not your best worker. The net effect is nothing gets done. And there it is. Our electric line is running again, and our train should start moving again. And I think we'll zoom in on our train and end the episode that way. Some things I shouldn't have talked about on the show. Anyways, that's the episode on Brainwashed. I guess I'll go back to Hollywood here. Go back to my Hollywood apartment. And hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next week.